Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. Yeah, it's another one. Look here, man. As long as we got knives, we're putting out videos. I don't give a shit. I hear people all the time, the big YouTubers whining about people don't watch it and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit, okay? We got a lot of knives to review. I'm putting them out every day that I can. I have not missed a day posting something since August 21st, 2022. So, no, it's not lucky while we're growing. No, it's not. We're putting in the work, and we're going to continue to do so. And I just want to take a second to thank all of you for choosing this video. Man, I love you. Thank you. Now, let's jump into this thing. This is the Drop Forward Survivalist by Cold Steel. The weight is 18.03 ounces. The overall length is 13 inches. The blade length is 8 inches. The blade thickness is 5 millimeters. The handle length is 5 inches. That inner grip, guys, I believe is right around 4. I don't have my tape measure with me. Soon as I get home, I'll post a comment with that inner grip. If you are a knife company, give a damn if you're Cold Steel or your Peepaw Harris on the corner. Would you please start putting the inner grip? It is an important measurement, and yes, good Lord, yes, I know how to read a tape and don't mind doing it, but it would help a lot. Now, the steel on this is 52-100, high carbon. It's one of my favorites. I have to thank Timbo 437 for sending this for a review. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Now, guys, we got knives in from Timbo, from JR, from Sabo, from Rosecraft, from Half Breed, from Work Tough. And here's what I'm gonna do, man. We're just gonna hammer down. I'm gonna rotate in, try to keep it as moving as I can, but we got a lot of knives to do. I'm excited, as you can tell. Let's get on it. Can you survive with this knife? If you are new here, here's how I run the channel, okay? 1, we put out a lot of content, obviously. 2, we focus on the knife in hand. I don't worry about another knife. I'm not trying to compare it to another knife. I'm not worried about better options. The knife in hand is what we're dealing with. The other side of that is this. I don't make broad sweeping statements unless I have a lot of experience with a company. At one point, I had over 150 different pieces of Cold Steel. I probably still have around 80, okay? I love Cold Steel. But let me caution fanboys and haters alike, I don't give a shit about either one of you, okay? I'm gonna give you my honest feelings on the knife, and better than that, you can watch this sumbitch work. That should say everything, and the reason I mention that is this. I did the drop forged buoy with the $5 pop gun handles on it, and I hated it. I love the knife. The knife is amazing. I love the drop forged series. I just hated those handle scales, and good God, here they came out of the woodwork. So let me put everybody's mind at ease. I absolutely adore these handle scales. I love the drop forged series, guys. I really do. There's something about it. I'm a huge 52-100 steel lover. It's pretty easy to sharpen. Now, let me say this. Can you survive with it? We're 4 minutes in and we're finally dealing with it. What do we need in a survival knife? It's got to do a little bit of everything, doesn't it? It needs to be sharp. That's a prerequisite. And most of us at this point can all sharpen our own knives. But it's got to be sharp. It needs to be able to stab, so I kind of enjoy that clip point, right? It's got to be able to chop a little bit. It's got to be able to slice. Here's what I try to do with every video. I try to give you the best look that I can. I try to give you the best look that my skill set will allow me, okay? We don't blame a knife. It's the skill set of the person in hand. I mean, that's the truth. People don't have to like it, but that's the truth. I've seen bad reviews because a guy couldn't use a knife, and I don't want that to be the case here. The other thing I want to deal with is this. It needs to be tough. It needs to be a tough knife, because apparently we live in a day and age where if a catastrophe happens, everybody's going to lose their damn mind and just start chopping chains and concrete blocks. That's what they want us to believe, right? Here's the deal. This thing is a tough sumbitch. The heat treat on it's good. How do you know? because I'm fixing to baton it down into a knot and hit it 2 or 3 more times, no edge damage. Now listen, when another YouTuber sends me something to review, or a subscriber, we're going to go hard. I do not believe in abusing a knife. I just don't. But I do believe in a little harder testing. However, when it's someone else's knife, when I haven't paid money for it, and when a company hasn't sent it to me, we are not going to destroy the knife. That's incredibly disrespectful to me, to damage someone else's gear. So I left a lot of this in. I hammered it down in there, and I hit it a few more times and did like that. And honestly, someone might consider this a little abusive, but I did stop at a point and we pulled the knife out. I felt like I showed as good as I could the knife's toughness here. It just locked in, man. Those pressure treated, people have this misgiving since it's pine that it's not hard. Guys, there is sap and knots all through a pressure treated 4x4, okay? And you can see it right here. And that is my spray sock. I wear one of those so I don't get sand all up in my ears. You know, don't want to hurt the merchandise there. But here's the thing, look at the edge. Edge held in very, very good. And let me say this too. Timbo takes care of his stuff. He keeps a sharp edge on the knife. One thing I've started doing more and more, guys around the shop, they'll use their gloves. These are leather gloves. They use the gloves, and then turn them in to get more, or just throw them down 9 times out of 10. So I want you to understand, just like any other medium you see on the channel, these are used and not good anymore, but they're perfect for a cutting medium. There's some soft leather in there, there's some rough leather in there, and there's some smooth leather in there. The drop forged Survivalist comes sharp as shit. Now the drop forged Bowie did too, right? That's why I love this series, and I may even pick one of these up. But I believe, and I believe this wholeheartedly, if you were in a bad spot, if you were in just a shitty situation, right? Be it lost in the woods, on a camping trip, something goes wrong, but you have this knife, I believe you're going to be okay. Why? Because it holds an edge very, very well. You can do a lot of things with it. And here's what I'm going to say about it. It's not the greatest chopper. Chop's okay. Chop's pretty good. But it's a great utilitarian knife. It has a great balance to it. A lot of times, man, we see bigger knives and people, oh, I couldn't use that. I guarantee you, I could take this knife to somebody like Bear from Bear's Old Ways, or Blackie Thomas, or any of them boys there, and put it in their hands, and I guarantee you, with the weight and the balance of this knife, it might not be their first option. I know it's not. But I believe they could handle it, and I believe you could handle it. It's got a great weight to it. It's got a great feel to it. It holds an edge, and I know I keep saying that, but if you really, really pay attention to my videos, we cut a ton of stuff. We really do. I put out a short earlier, if I can remember, when I get home, I'll put it in the description. It's a double tap where we cut the 2 bottles. I consider that for my slashing. If you have to defend yourself, it's got that nice clip point. But here's the other thing. And Donnie B all day, shout out to him, brought up a great point one time. You know, self-defense in the woods isn't always against a person, not always against a meth crafter. You might have to use a knife against an animal, God forbid, right? It's Sasquatch, whatever the case may be. You want a knife that is well balanced. It's got a nice guard on it. And here's the deal. I will say this. If you're in a bad spot, you can't afford to injure yourself. Having that guard there will allow for some mistakes. What do I mean by mistakes? Well, if you're in a bad spot, at some point, a little bit of panic can set in. Now, I know not for my subscribers, because they're all descended from Daniel Boone. But you know what I'm saying. You're out in the woods, you're like, holy shit, it can cause you to make poor decisions. So having that guard there is a great, I love it. And I'm not a real big guard guy. I'm really not. solid one-piece construction. The handle scales, Cold Steel names everything else. They call them, I don't know what the hell they call them, non-slip X or some shit. But they're comfortable in hand. They're not too aggressive. I absolutely adore them. Guys, before we go any further, let me just say this before we say that. Would I carry it? You damn right. I love this thing. I'm thinking about picking me one up. I really, really am. The balance was great. The sharpness was great. Everything on this night hit every mark for me. I love it. Before we wrap up, guys, there was a time in this country where 22 vets a day took their own lives. Now, stats are everywhere. 15 to 29 is the real number. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Now, I asked you guys the other night to put the hashtag 22 a day in because YouTube and all its infinite wisdom was holding it. Guys, they held 65 comments. The vast majority were hashtag 22 a day. I'm still trying to get my way through them and get them approved, but thank you for putting that. It's important to me. It should be important to everyone. It's a sick statistic. I'm back to blue, guys. I don't ask everybody to. I have my reasons. It's just one of my causes. And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. Well, I'm Scab. You're not. I'm gone, son. Love y'all.